Welcome to the Roundabout podcast, Anthony Smith.
Cheers, Kyle.
Thanks for coming on.
No problem. Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. Appreciate it. Just a message for everyone who's watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Do you want to just go through like your personal story and the reason for coming on today? If you don't mind sharing it.
No problem. So, Carl's asked me to come on to this podcast to talk about addiction and stuff, and so I'm just going to talk about myself from like an early age to sort of to the present day. And like, I don't know, from like a very young age, I sort of like had these feelings that I sort of didn't really understand, and sort of like around my friends, I didn't feel like a part of the friendship that we sort of grew up with on the estate. Sort of felt like I struggled socially, like I didn't fit in. And there was like bits of bullying going on, sort of other stuff as well. And I never felt comfortable in my own skin. And I got to like a certain age, and I remember this one time, I remember being at a party, my uncles, and I remember looking at all the adults, because I can't remember if it was Christmas, because I was only about like 9 or 10, and I seen them all laughing and joking and all that, and inside I was like feeling like not too good about myself or life in general. And basically, I clocked on to the fact they were all drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
So what I done was I snuck vodka and coke. Coke in it, so I could blend it. It's like it's just coke, and I sort of drank it in the toilet. And I was like, oh fucking hell! I was like, I fucking feel good. So I liked the way alcohol made me feel.
How long ago was that?
So I was young. I can't put a specific age on it, but I'm saying like around 10 years old. Kids are kids, aren't they? And we see other people doing what they're doing, like adults, and sort of want to do what they're doing. And
yeah, so makes sense.
So I've done it, and like, so I experienced some good feelings from the alcohol. So going into like high school and stuff, I basically just started drinking alcohol with the lads off the estate. Like over a weekend, we'd like try and get a quid together or 2 quid, and back in those days you could get someone to go into the shop for you for alcohol.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's a big thing now. Like I don't know if it still goes on, but like we used to get people to go in. We'd go and get like a bottle of White Lightning or Frosty Jacks, or it's just basically cheap cider. Because like money was scarce when we were growing up on the estate. Like we never really had much, and
that's what we did, to be fair, when I was like 13, 14. You'd get people to go in for you. Just thinking now, like, how bad it is though at the time, and people actually did it. And we'd end up down the subbies and the subways in Old Skem, and like fucking drinking these bottles of cider, and like we'd like fucking spin round drinking them, trying to get like higher and stuff like that, and like the whole bottle in one go, and we feel like, wow, this is boss, this, you know what I mean? And then like after not such a long period of time after we've drunk it, me personally anyway, I'd be like fucking lying in my own sick and spewing up, and I remember many times I'd end up at the garages at the back of ours in my own sick, and like getting have to get carried on by me ex-stepdad at the time when my mum was married, and I get into loads of trouble for it and stuff, but it didn't stop me because I wanted to fucking do it. Yeah.
And like I didn't really like I enjoyed the alcohol, but I didn't enjoy how it made me feel, man, because I'd overdo it. I wouldn't just have a couple, I'd want to neck the whole bottle.
Yeah.
So like, but I didn't really know what like I suffered with. Like I didn't know what addiction was or nothing like that. And as like the years went on, the addiction progressed, and the lads, one or two of them was like a year older than me, and they started scoring a bit of cannabis, and we'd go down to subbies,
Yeah.
and I'd be smoking cannabis with them just to fit in, just to feel a part of something, because I didn't feel a part of things. And,
Yeah.
and the reality of it is that I might well have fitted in more than what my head was telling me, but in my head I was like, felt isolated, I felt different, I felt like I wasn't a part of like stuff. So I sort of joined in where I could, and one of these sort of times turned to like smoking weed, and I absolutely hated how it made me feel. But I still sort of, and I was like feared up, like I was like,
You still did it.
I still
Just to fit in.
still done it because I thought I'd fit in.
That's the thing, innit? Like you pick up the habits of the people you're around,
Mm,
and like if you're with them people all the time, you're gonna end up exactly like them in a way, even if you're nothing like them to begin with.
yeah, doing what
It's
they're doing.
inevitable, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to be in a group of friends and be the only one that doesn't do
Yeah.
drugs or go for a drink, for example.
Yeah.
Just thinking as well, did you ever have a stage where you had like where you could do it socially, just a drink, and have that like control over it, or
I think like in me like earlier days, like do you know what? To be honest with you, like once I hit like the age where I could go to pubs and like drink in my mates' houses and all that, like I don't really remember many times. I don't really remember any specific times where I just have one. Cause
it's hard to just have one anyway. But I mean, like, just a couple. Like, say if you go like day drinking, or you go like watch the footy and have a few.
Yeah, but I'd still always drink excessively.
Was yeah.
Yeah, I'd drink excessively. Like, and I'd never want to go home. I'd want to carry on.
Because I remember you saying to me on holiday, you were like, "How would you just have one like a couple?" Because I'd have like 2 drinks and then go home or whatever.
Yeah, do you know
I could
what?
do that. But you were like, "How would you do that?" You look at me, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's like, even though like I've been around people who drink and you have one or two, it's still like I still can't get over like sometimes that like people can drink socially,
Yeah.
or they can drink as much as they want to, or take drugs as much as they want to, and then they still like turn up for life,
For the job and work and
turn
that.
up for the responsibilities
And the relationships,
and
kids.
the relationships and the kids, and they go through this weekly cycle or whatever of doing the same thing, and they seem
They can act normal.
happy to a degree. I don't know what they're feeling inside, but they're sort of continuing with their life, and it looks manageable from where I'm sat.
I think maybe they just say it that way though, like that's what you're only seeing from the outside, but you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, but there are people who can do that, and
They can, yeah, and they do it socially, and then they get back to work on a Monday, and they're back in the routine, and my head falls off of it. I'm like, I don't know how they do it. Like, I just no idea, because I know if I was to do that, I'd go off the rails, and I'd miss work, and I'd like it'd just spiral off, and I wouldn't be able to focus and be myself properly, and I know it'd affect like how I am with other people and my relationships and that.
yeah.
Some people can do it. That's the thing, but it's learning. It's like not everyone can do that, and then everyone's different, aren't they? So
Yeah, I think like the symptoms of addiction. There's loads of symptoms like is being in denial is a big one. It's
like denial that you're not addicted, or
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. People,
you think they're fine.
you think you're fine. You keep doing what you're doing. Like when I was using drugs and alcohol from a late teens, early teens to throughout my 20s, there wasn't really any consequences. I was a young lad, no kids, just a job, lived alone with my mother. So used drugs and alcohol to excess, and there was no consequences except the hangover when I stopped. If it was a day or a 2 day, whatever, it was like I'd feel rough the next day or whatever, and then I was young, so I recovered pretty quick from it.
Yeah.
But it was obviously in denial from quite an early age that I actually had a bit of a problem, but I didn't understand what I suffered with. So I just kept going because it was just what I'd done. It was like,
Yeah.
it was just like, but like, yeah, you know, I went from like the smoking weed as a teenager and to like, I'm not enjoying it. And to like, and then I remember 16, cocaine came on the scene, and I remember the first time that I had it. And a mate of mine, I won't mention his name obviously, and he was like a year older than me, and he gave me my first line and that, and I was like in loads of fear, like, wow, what am I doing here? And I was like, I still done it. I was like, I was scared of something, but still done it. I was like,
Yeah.
wanting to fit in, wanting to be like everyone else,
Just
and
curious of it as well.
curious about
Yeah.
it, and I remember having it. My throat went all numb and all that, my nose went all numb, and it was like, I didn't really like it. Like, I was scared of it. I thought I might choke to death, to be honest with you. But then I found myself taking it on a regular basis. You know, I finished school, went to college, dropped out of college, and followed the other lads. Got a shit job, low pay, no prospects, and getting paid on a weekly basis, and just getting wrecked all weekend.
Yeah,
No,
he's just living for the weekend.
living for the weekend, yeah. But I didn't know any other way. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know any other way. I just thought that was just the life that we lived. I thought everyone's done it.
Yeah.
Not like understanding that there's so much more that life has. That was just sort of what I knew from a young age.
A lot of people are stuck in that rut, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think it's more like common for people to do drugs now than it is not to do them. If I go out, like, the 9 times out of 10 I get offered it. Like, if I go to the toilet, somebody like, do you want one or whatever? And I feel like in our area, like 80% probably more do it. Like, they'll have a line on the weekend. So, but like, some people, like you said, are fine doing it socially, and then there's others who can't admit it's a problem and they're doing it through the week. They're spending all the money on it. I know someone who he split up with his wife over it, and then he used all the money from selling the house and literally blew it all on cocaine. I think it's like 90 grand's worth or something that he got, and he like just put it like completely through up his nose. Like, it's mad how people can do that. That money just goes to waste. They get nothing from it. There's no, like, you don't own anything then. You've got not really an experience. I don't speak to anyone who, like, they're never like grateful that they went back like on a session, or like they're like, yeah, I went on a bender for 3 days. Most of them feel like shit after it and like regret doing it.
Yeah.
And they turn the phone off because they don't want to talk to anyone. Or they don't want to talk to the bed, or vice versa. Because girls do it as well, you know what I mean? But it's mad how it can change you as a person, and your priorities just go out the window.
Yeah.
Like, your family life, whatever, your kids, your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever, and then your career, that's just like the bottom of the list, innit? And you just want to you're just thinking, let's get another one.
Yeah.
Let's get another one. That's what they crave. They're constantly doing it.
Yeah, it's like after like a period of time, like addictions, like I just want whatever area of my life it is, primarily drugs. It's like I just want more. Suffer with this,
it's
like,
never ending.
Suffer with an obsession of the mind and a compulsion of the body. So I can obsess over drugs, and this is what I've learned over the work that I've done with the fellowship that I'm in, and because I do like the 12 steps, me, that's how I sort of stay clean, like, and it's like an obsession of the mind. So when I was in active addiction, I'd obsess over drugs, and then once I put the first one in, I had like call it allergic reaction, or this compulsion to just I just want more. So obviously, like, drugs cost money, so you know, an opportunity came along, like, in my early 20s to buy a bit of cannabis in bulk and then sell it to make money. It's just greed again, addiction, you know, want more.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and you know, profiting off selling drugs, and that's when it started to get worse, because I had more money, I could do more drugs. My life got more unmanageable, and but when it really kicked off was, you know, I got an opportunity to buy some cocaine to sell that,
Yeah.
and the money that can be made from cocaine is more off cannabis. So I noticed the difference in the money, so that green-lighted me to use more. And quite quickly, like over a period of time, I found myself using it every day. I was like obsessed with the selling of the drugs. I was obsessed with the taking of the drugs.
Is this both weed and cocaine or just cocaine?
Mostly coke, but I'd have a spliff every now and again to try and get my head down or stuff like that. Or I'd smoke it on occasions, even though I still didn't like it. And
Yeah.
like even like the cocaine, I had a love-hate relationship with that. Like I had good experiences and bad experiences on it, but I was just obsessed and compulsed just to keep taking it.
Yeah.
And like by this time, I'd ended up having like a young boy. I had a son, sorry, and like and like I couldn't stop using for the love of my kid. It was like nothing. Like this. I was powerless over my addiction. Like my life was unmanageable, and all I could do was just like obsess over drugs and use drugs, and me ways and means of getting more drugs was by selling drugs. So so that was sort of my life. I was in this vicious circle of insanity. You know, I was like justifying me using by blaming everybody for my I weren't taking personal responsibility for my situations and how I was feeling. Just
Yeah.
blaming everyone else and justifying using by like, my girlfriend at the time's giving me fucking grief, or someone's pissed me off, or they're pricks, or this, that, and the other. And I'd just be like, yeah. I mean, I didn't need a reason to use. I was just obsessed and compulsed to use anyway. But I justified it with bullshit, basically, because I was in denial.
That's what you told yourself as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and yeah, and you know what? I ended up using coke for a good couple of years, like pretty much every day. I don't remember not having it. I don't remember having a day off, to be fair, because it was about me all the time. You know, I was making like a fair bit of money by just going out on the street selling it. Like I had a little round and thought I was the man. I thought I was better than everyone else and stuff like that. Like my ego was just absolutely warped. When in reality I was worse than everyone else. It's the denial that comes along, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, I used to like the reality of what I suffered with and my behaviours and all that was that, like, you know, I was in a relationship, I had my own flat and that, like, and I just didn't fucking care what she wanted or what she wanted me to do. I was just like fucking too busy doing my own thing, you know, and it's sad, like, it makes me emotional because I caused harm to people, like, in my life, you know. I used to manipulate my mother to have my son so I could go out and use and sell drugs. You know, I didn't give a fuck about no one because the drugs just fucking stripped me of everything, like, that I loved, you know. And for quite a long time, like, I was questioning myself, why have I done this, what's going on, like. And I actually one time I've come home, I've read outside until my ex-partner had gone to work, and I've come in the flat and I've looked in the mirror and just broke down and cried, and I was absolutely off my cake. And I took my phone out and said, like, I had this recording, and I made this recording, like, me talking to myself, saying, you need to sort your head up, what's going on and all that. And I've actually still got that. I've actually still got that recording on my phone today. Like, it was mad when I found it by mistake, like, on my phone, and it was like it was a really emotional time to listen back to that. And
So you just having a word with yourself, like,
I
saying,
just
I
don't,
need to stop
yeah.
it, like.
Yeah, just saying, what are you doing with your life? You're in a relationship there, you're treating your missus like shit, you've got a fucking kid in your life, and you're fucking using drugs, you need to sort your head out.
Was that like your turning point where it clicked with you, or?
Not quite, no. Do you know what? Like, I had loads of rock bottoms with using drugs, but
Did you know for a while, like you realising
I
it's
started to get onto the fact that I had the problem, but I was still blaming everybody else, and I was sort of blaming the drugs for the problem, when it was sort of like my thinking was the problem.
Yeah.
The drugs are a symptom of what I suffer with. I've got this obsessive and compulsive obsession of the mind and compulsion of the body, and the drugs are just a symptom of what I suffer with. You know, I found drugs and I used drugs because they changed how I feel, but they stopped working. me like becoming manageable, and I was powerless over them. I just couldn't stop, and you know, like the insanity of me addiction was that like when I was in that mirror and I was crying and I made that voice note and you know my best thinking was like fucking crack another one open. 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the flat on my own in a really dark place, and I was just, my best thinking was I'll have another one. Just didn't know what to do. Do you know what I mean? I was just powerless, and
You were just on your own then, like.
I was on my own in the flat, yeah. And
That's when you know when you're not doing it socially, when you're not in like a group, you're doing it by yourself.
there was many times when I'd be out socially in the pubs and all that, doing my graft, or with mates in inverted commas, people who I used to knock about with and all that, and you know, many times I'd just do what I needed to do, and I'd just like get off, like be paranoid, psychosis style thinking people were out to get me, or all that sort of stuff, and like, and I'd just end up back in the flat on my own using, or I'd end up walking the street using, like hoping to find a party that I never found, you know what I mean? And like the insanity in my addiction took me was like, I remember coming home off a bender, my partner at the time was in bed, and I sat there on the couch like, and I had like no bags of stuff left, so I had flake like, and I started sniffing the flake. I had like fucking Babe Station on volume 1 or something like, and it still sounded dead loud because I was that fucked, do you know what I mean? I was high as a kite.
Yeah, I'll just pause it a sec because the battery's run out. Hang on. Sorry that. Why is it not working? Oh wait, we're back on. There we are.
And,
Sorry that.
it's alright. And technical issues. And like, yeah, so I was on the couch like just snorting flake on my own, like, you know, my fucking heart was pounding, my breaths were dead short, and there was cars, I don't know, it was like 3-4 in the morning, a car would come in the street, I'd be like, fucking hell, the fucking busys are coming through the door, could hear the helicopter, thinking they're just coming. Paranoid, fucked, and
Yeah.
I sat there and I was like, fucking hell, what's going on? And it was, you know, 5 in the morning, I was like, my fucking heart's pounding, I feel like I'm gonna have like a fucking heart attack, and my best thinking was like, I'll have another one to sort me head out, and that's how fucked my thinking was. I just
thought that was the solution, like.
I used drugs as a solution to my problems for many years, you know, with the drugs and alcohol. It just changed how I feel, but it stopped working because I was abusing them, and there just comes a time like where, you know, you just get to the end of the road, and you either carry on what you're doing, or you try and change. And I just remember one time like where I've come home and that, and I was just questioning myself in the mirror again, you know, I was up to my old tricks, just out on a bender. I come home and I knew she'd gone to work, and I just thought like, the services in Old Skem on Sandy Lane there, you know, and this was, so basically before this happened, I've gone out and like, I was paranoid, like, but I know I was getting followed by the police because I've seen them a couple of times, and I've come out of people's houses and they were there and all that, and I've finished work, I've gone to where my stash was, and some lads bagged a load of gear up, I've come down the road and the busy swooped on me like the fucking from behind, from the front, and they've nicked me.
Where was this?
This was like on Lancaster Crescent in Old Skem, and they've nicked me. I think it was the 8th of December 2015, and this was a turning point because it was like I got nicked. I've had 2 phones on me, a few bits in my pocket, a few bits underneath the seat of my car. I was actually high at the time.
Yeah.
And I just felt like this massive relief, like a weight lifted off my shoulders, because I was like, I can fucking stop now. It's done.
You needed that like breaking point.
On that day, after I got out of Nick, like I've got rid of my stuff. And I stopped selling it. Like, but the consequences to them actions of mine of getting Nick, like I was getting a custodial sentence. But it didn't stop me selling, but it didn't stop me using. And that time when I've come home, and I was like, there's people there that can help me there. So it's alright hitting a rock bottom, but you've got to be fucking honest about what's going on for you. You've got to be open-minded to change, and you've got to be willing to do something about it.
Who put you on like these paths and like pointed you in like the right direction to get help on that? Who did that?
Well, I just like, So it was like a bit double, my motors were like double barreled, like it was like, they could help me, but also I could get a lighter sentence because the courts will fucking think like he's trying to fucking sort himself out and all that. So there was
Okay.
there was two reasons for it, really.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But like, I engaged with them. I got little periods of time where I weren't drinking or using any drugs and all that, but I kept going back over the course of like the 8 months that I was on bail before I went away. And you know what, like after a couple of months like of being on bail, you know, I was going not guilty. I went not guilty at the police station. I went not guilty at Ormskirk Madge, and I went to Crown Court because the sentence was possibly going to be over 2 years. Well, it was going to be over 2 years. They have to send it to Crown Court. They were the rules at the time. And I went not guilty there as well. And then I was just like, I remember being in my brother's kitchen and all that, and I was like, what am I going to do? I was like, I'm fucking guilty. I said, they're going to do me if I go to trial on this and I lose. I'm going to end up with about 5 years. So I just fucking like admitted to myself, like, you know, I just fully accepted the consequences to my actions at the time and just thought, I'm just going to go guilty. I need to, and I'm going to get discount, like, because if you go guilty they'll give you lesser sentence and all that. So I fully accepted that I was going to go to jail, like, and once I'd fully accepted that, like, I found a little bit of peace. Because it was a scary thought, do you know what I mean, going to jail, like missing out on life and my son at the time and all that. It was scary, like I was in loads of fear, do you know what I mean? I was always in fear all my life, do you know what I mean? I thought I was shy, but it was like fear. I was like, well, it's not fitting in business. But once I'd accepted it, I felt alright about it, and I knew I was doing the right thing. It was like, I haven't done the right thing my whole life. I've always tried to do things my way, the selfish, self-centered way of Anthony, do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
and
I think as well, though, like, some people have addictive personalities, so where that you started doing it socially, like you said, in that circle, and you were just doing it to fit in, but then people like yourself lead on and it just gets worse and worse. And it, you know, it's like a domino effect, ruins everything else in your life. But then there's people that, like you're saying, you can just go, like I myself, I'm not perfect. Like if I go to a festival or something, I've done drugs at festivals and that, and occasions I've done them. I don't really like coke, to be fair. I don't really, I think the last time I done that was like 8 years ago, and I had to like get out of the habit of doing it, because I got into the habit of doing it and I didn't really want to do it. And then once you're in the routine of it, you're addicted to it, and you get used to like something in your mind. When you've had like a pint or 2 pints, something just clicks in your head, like, I'll go and get one of them, and you're not thinking the same as you would when you're sober, and you end up doing it, and then you lose control, you're addicted to it, you're on a bender all weekend or whatever, spend all your money on it, spend a fortune on it, like, you know, 100, 200 quid on a weekend, some people more. And I used to hate how I felt. The next day I'd feel like absolute shit, and like the day I was just dead depressed and that, and I felt empty inside. I felt like there was no positive emotions for me. I couldn't get through it, and it was like, I knew how it made me feel. I was depressed, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, and then I was worrying about stuff, like paranoid and that, and it was affecting me all week in work and that. And it'd take me like a week, probably take me like 5 days to start feeling better. Then on the Friday I'd do it again. I was in a constant habit then. And I read something about it. It was saying about like all the dopamine that gets released in your body, like in your mind, it flushes it. That all flushes out, and your mind's not controlling it, like filtering it. So you end up using it all, and then it takes like a week for your body to like repair. Apparently it like damages receptors in your brain. And if people are doing it long term, overusing it, then it affects your mind's ability to produce proper dopamine, and it's like it can have a long term effect on your production of it. So
yeah,
it's crazy though. It's like I felt that way, and I knew I just felt like shit, and then in my head I was like, I need to stop this. And it was like, I still wanted to go out and socialise, and I didn't mind having a drink every now and again. That was more controllable for me. I could still eat, I could still go to bed, and I'd just be a bit rough in the morning, I'd be sound the next day. And it wouldn't affect any of me work and stuff if I just done it on the weekend. But like, I had to sort of learn, like, you know, when you're going out, everyone offers you it. And now even like, some of my mates do it still. And they'll still offer me it, and I'm like, every time, I've just drilled it in my head to say no. And it's like, no matter how pissed I am, no matter how drunk I am, I'm like, I still say no. And it's like, I just built that in me, but it took me like a good 3-4 weeks to get out the habit. And once like a month passed, I didn't bother me no more. But I know a lot of people who say to me they do it. Majority of people who do it tell me they feel like shit after it. They don't like doing it, and they have a better time just having a drink. Like, if you can just do it, drink in moderation, people enjoy that more.
Yeah.
And it's mad though when people do cocaine, how they change, and then they're having like they're having deep chat with like randomers they don't even know, and like just fucking sat in the kitchen talking about absolute shit. And it's like, they're dead serious and that, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing, you know what I mean? You're wasting your life in a kitchen.
They're going to take over the world, and you've got all these amazing ideas.
Business plans and that, it's
but
mad
it's like
though.
what you said about the euphoric highs and then the really low lows, like when they come down and that, and because they're so low, you do it again to pick yourself back up, because it releases all these endorphins and stuff, like you said, like, that make you feel good. And then
it's like 8-9 in the morning.
And I used to remember, like, I'd dread taking it again, but I knew I was gonna. I couldn't stop myself.
Yeah.
And
I don't miss doing it, mate. I just don't miss, like, at all.
No.
Like, you're not missing out on anything if you don't go to that fucking gaff. And I'm not saying like people should still go out and have a laugh and stuff, and then if they want a bevy and go back to someone's or whatever, like, I do that sometimes, but I know me cut off. I'm like, yeah, like, I'm done now.
yeah,
Everyone's different, like, it's each to their own, but I just know, like, when I used to do that, I'd be sat in the kitchen, I'd be the next day carrying on. Didn't eat all day, didn't speak to my mum or my family all day. She's worried about me, what's going on. And then I just felt fucking horrible. Like, I just know. It's the worst I've ever felt on a come downs. And I've known people, Jamie Sawyer, like, unfortunately, I knew what happened to him, and he mentioned that he went through like a bad, from what I heard, he was like overusing it, and then he killed himself, sadly. That's from what I've heard. I'm sorry to bring that up, but like, he was a good lad, you know what I mean? It's a shame. Like, he's friends with a lot of people and scamming that, and like, it's upsetting that it can make people that low to think they're going to take their own life, and don't realise, like, all your family members are there for you, and they're there to help you, and you know what I mean? You've done the right thing getting support, really. You've done the right thing getting off it.
definitely. Yeah, I think if I didn't, like, get clean off the drugs and all that, like, I don't know, I'd probably end up be back in jail or dead, to be fair. There's plenty of times where I thought I was going to have a heart attack, do you know what I mean? Or it could have went, you know, suicide's a reality, dying's a reality.
When you're that depressed, you know, all that money out, you don't want to deal with people, and you feel that low, because it does make you feel like that. People get depressed off it, like, that's known. And when you're depressed, you're not thinking straight, and then people do end up taking their own lives and stuff. And like, I knew I was getting depressed. I was feeling at points when I was on it, I didn't want to live, and that's what clicked with me. I was like, I'm not doing this, because I know if I got in a spell of doing that and going on benders, I couldn't live with myself. I couldn't do it. I'd probably end up taking my own life. So I knew I did the right thing, stop doing it, like. But some people can do it socially and then get back to their lives and they're fine. They're not depressed. So that's what I mean. But it's when you have to explain to people when you don't do it, when you go out. It's like a big thing.
I don't explain to people why I don't do it.
But they're like, why don't you do that? And you're like, I don't, to be fair, but it should be them telling us why they're doing it, you know.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's just so socially acceptable in them sort of situations for people to just be taking coke and stuff, and, you know, it's just sort of, it's each to their own. Like, some people can enjoy it and use it recreationally, but it just, other people suffer really badly, and like they said, they get addicted to it, and you know, I just know that I've just got to stay off that stuff. Make my life loads better without it.
Same here, man. Like, I'm fucking miles better off without it. Like, I just more like me drives there, motivation. I'm more mentally focused in work. I'm better around people. I feel better in myself. I'm enjoying life more. You're high on life. You're high on like keeping good health, and you can still socialise with people. You don't need coke to be cool or fucking, you know, be good. You know, it's nothing special really. Like I can still just have the same night without doing it.
Yeah.
And still have a laugh with my mates and that. I don't know. I'm confused why people do it all the time. Like, but it's one of them. Like,
It's just an addictive substance in it, and people just get stuck in it.
it is, yeah.
It's not a nice experience.
Nah. What was it? Just going back to what you were saying, and the 12 steps or something. What were they that helped you to get clean and that?
So when I was in jail, you know, I've basically like found myself using drugs that I thought I'd never used before. That I swore I'd never take them, and I ended up taking different types of drugs and stuff like that. And I got to meet Cat D, this open jail in Kirkham and that, and someone was saying like there's an NA meeting in there, and I've heard of it. It's a fellowship called Narcotics Anonymous, and someone said, "Are you going to that meeting?" And I was like, "Why are you fucking messing with that? I don't need that." And I got back to my pad, and I was like, "You need to go. You know, you've got a problem. You know what I mean?" And I ended up going there, and some guy was like 6 months clean. He got clean on Christmas Day, like that the year before, because this was like 6 months after. This was 2017, like 6 months after Christmas Day, and this guy had come in like and done like it's called the main share, where he comes and talks about his experience with addiction and like the strength and hope that he can offer by telling a story. And I was blew away by what he said, and I was just thinking, fucking hell, if he can get clean on Christmas Day using the fucking drugs that he was using every day, there's fucking hope for me. So that's what I got from that meeting, like, and
Yeah.
so I got out of jail, and I just started going to meetings and all that, like, because I just thought, I don't want to use no more. I've had enough of it. I've had enough of that way of life. You know, I've stopped selling drugs. I've done my time in jail. You know, I've justice has been served. I've paid the price for me actions. I've took responsibility for what I was doing, and you know, spreading misery around scamming. And I was like, I've had enough.
Did you learn much in jail? Like, meet anyone there that helped you, or what was it like there?
Jail was, do you know what? Like, I remember when I was in the dock, like, and like the what's his name? The fella who put me away. What's he called in court?
The judge.
The judge. Sorry, yeah, my mind went blank then. Yeah, the judge was like saying whatever he was saying, and he said you've got like 33 months, and I knew I was going down anyway. We like so I fully accepted it, and I remember like fucking looked at my family and all that, just went down into the thingy and that, and waited for the sweatbox, the bus to come and get me, and because I'd fully accepted I was going to jail, I went in there, I was dead calm, and it was like, it was fine. I just accepted that this is going to be me life for a year or so, and you know what, jail is what you make of it. Like, I wouldn't recommend going. It's depressing. You're away from your family. You know, you can hear the fireworks going off over New Year and all that stuff. Your family having to come in to visit you, stuff like that. But I engaged in there. You know, you know, if you want to find trouble in there, you're gonna find trouble. Do you know what I mean? But I just like treated everyone with the respect that I wanted to. I've made some friends in there. I'd done some education in there. I'd done like a painting and decorating course. I'm actually like I'm a qualified painter and decorator. I'm self-employed and I'm good at it as well. Like, so like jail done me the world of good, you know, I put my life in, I put a lot of things into perspective and stuff, and just done what I needed to do. There's loads of drugs in jail, you know, I was round a bend in jail, I was still taking drugs and all that, like, and ended up fucking taking drugs.
In jail?
In jail, mate, there's loads of drugs, like.
Is there, yeah?
Yeah, loads. You know, they used to have all, I don't know what it's like now, but they used to have all the drones coming in, people smuggling them in.
Drones, yeah.
Through the windows and all that, like, and it was mad, like the fucking drones flying over, like, with big, like, long fucking...
And how long ago was this?
This was 2017, but this was in Walton, Nick, but I believe it's all changed now. It's all nets up and they put new windows in, because there's just holes in the windows and there's drones coming in with big bags of drugs for people and stuff like that.
Really,
It
yeah?
was mad, yeah.
What? Is it like, so 23 hours you're in your cell, are you, and then you get an hour?
It can be like, yeah, but you get, like, you know, you get a job in there, you know, and you get paid a little bit of money for going out. You can do laundry, or you can do the cleaning, or you can do education. I got on this fusion course for painting and decorating. Something just told me to do it, like, and that's what I done there. And so you're not in your pad, you do a couple of hours in the morning, you go back, have your dinner, you get banged up for an hour or two, and then you go back for the afternoon for a couple of hours, and then if you're lucky you get a social for like an hour.
Nah, okay.
You get gym a little bit in there and stuff. So yeah, it's not like you're banged up totally. Like if you don't play the game, you end up in solitary. You're just banged up 24 hours a day.
If you don't work and that.
If you just if you end up doing things in there you shouldn't be, and you get gripped and that. But it was a positive experience for me, to be fair. I just done what I needed to do, and just knew that the life that I was living wasn't the life that I wanted to carry on living.
Just gonna check, is it still recording now?
Yeah.
Because it goes off, you know, every now and again, but yeah, that's all. Yeah, we're still on that. Both mics are still on. My mic kept going off, but I think it is that because it's inactive for a bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, carry on then.
But yeah, jail, it's just what you make of it, I suppose. I just done what I needed to do. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want my family coming in to see me, and you know, if you've been fighting, you got marks on you and all that. Like, I had a couple of little bits of bother in there, but it was nothing that I couldn't handle, and I just got on with it. Like, just got on with it.
Yeah. So since you've been out then, like, what's life been like? What's all the, you know, the groups that you've been involved in, and
it's been amazing. Like, it's fucking changed my life, to be fair. I just sort of like carried on doing these NA meetings when I got out, and you know, I just wanted to get like clean off the drugs and the alcohol.
how long have you been clean now?
Nearly 18 months.
If you were to have a drink though, would you end up resorting to getting like a Charlie or whatever?
I wouldn't risk it. I don't want to.
Yeah. Fair
But
enough.
my experience tells me that yeah, I would, because I've had years of it.
Yeah.
And it's like
You're not in the same mindset then, are you?
no,
You've had a drink.
it's quite complicated, you know, when I could talk about it all day. But I got like 3.5 years, but like the fellowship that I'm engaged in, you know, I go to regular meetings, like I do the 12-step work, and I've got a sponsor who I can ring, you know, when I need guidance or to talk to someone. And
How did you get onto that though? What's the route to get there?
is
Is it just online or?
yeah, I just went online and looked for NA meetings online, and
NA, so it's November Alcohol.
Narcotics Anonymous, and I just went on to found the meetings and just started turning up, and you get people's phone numbers, start making friends and all that, like, and these friends like that I first met at my first meeting, they're still my friends today.
Are the ones you go on walks with them and that? At the mountain?
I have done that, yeah. I remember like because I stopped hanging around with all the people, I stopped selling the drugs and all that, and I used to see people on Facebook who were in recovery thinking, I'd love to do that. And the next year I was doing it, going up to Snowdon with lads in recovery, and it was just like I've just made so many friends there and just done what was suggested in the meetings, and it's changed my life. You know, I just wanted to get clean and stop using drugs and stop drinking, and my life's changed loads. Like I've got like a bit of peace inside me, and
It's good, man.
just feel at peace and like feel like I'm getting better, making better decisions for myself. I'm just trying to do the right thing for myself, and like when I've got my kids, try and be the best dad I can be when I've got my kids and stuff. You know, making an amends every day to like my kids and like my family for all the. Because I didn't steal physically off my family, but I stole the peace of mind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
My mum used to worry about me because I was out for days, or she was worried because I was in jail. Do you know what I mean?
It's not fair on them, is
It's
it?
not fair on them,
You
you know.
should realise that now, like,
And I never realised all that until
at the
I
time.
took a look at like my life and my behaviours and the harm
So
that I
it's when
caused.
you can see when you're like living that life, you can't see everything that's happening. You miss things, but like if you're looking from an outsider, from a third person, or if you're looking back on your life now, you can recognise where you went
Yeah.
wrong and stuff.
Definitely, and it's all part of like the 12 steps. You know, there's 12 steps that you go through in an order, because it takes a look at everything. You know, from admitting how powerless you are over your addiction and how unmanageable your life is, to sort of like, you know, reaching out and asking for help and taking a personal inventory and like looking
You say
at
that's a
looking at-
sign of health, don't they? Admitting to it, like
Definitely, yeah. If
speaking to someone about health, about your problem.
you can't get help with something if you're not prepared to admit that you've got a problem in the first place. That's where the
first step.
denial comes in. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? If you're in denial, you're not going to admit that you've got a problem. So the steps are like a life-changing experience for me, and you know, I'm blessed to have like found the meetings and the fellowship that I go to, because it's, you know, I've got people who care about me. You know, all these people I used to knock about with and sell drugs to, and people used to go out and, you know, they don't ring me and ask me how I am. You know, because I was just someone to use with.
They're not proper people, are they?
And
Not
I was
proper mates.
probably like they weren't probably the best person to be around anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because I was just round the bend all the time, and
Now you're like, you find that other group of people. Like the gym I go, Bannatynes, like there's a good group of people, and occasionally we'll go on walks and stuff and do mountains, and just like go to different places and go kayaking or something, instead of just resorting to going out and doing drugs or something like majority of people do now.
yeah.
But like, they're a good group of people. Like the mentality's right. They look after themselves, want to keep themselves healthy, and like, because I'm around them people, then you're more inclined to pick up similarities. But if you're with the wrong group of people, then you're gonna end up like them.
Definitely, yeah. I think like if like one of the things I've really grown to love is like me running. Like I do a lot of long distance running and stuff like that. So like, cause I do a lot of running, I found people who do long distance running, so I go running with them. So it's like it's the thought that the mind's a very powerful thing, and I think like if you project positive thoughts and look to do positive things with your life, it's gonna happen. And I think if you think negatively towards life and have thoughts of just doing the same things over and over, like taking drugs, then you're always gonna take drugs.
That's it. I think the money they spend on that, they could spend it on like
It's not even
going on
about
holiday or whatever,
it's
or
not
experience.
It's not even about the money, mate. It's about inside, mate. That's the priceless part. Obviously, the gift of recovery that I've got is that I don't waste my money on my shite. I can make better decisions, but
I just mean like a way of people can think to stop themselves doing it. Like in my head, it helps me not to get involved in that, is by thinking I can spend my money on this instead.
But
there's better things to spend your money on, is what I'm saying.
If they're an addict and addicted to taking drugs, they ain't thinking like that, mate. It's just the obsessive thought of taking one, then they put one in and you can't stop, and it's like, it's a very dark place to be. Like, I'm just really grateful that I've been able to get out of it, but I've got to work like a program every day and try and do things that are suggested to me every day.
Yeah.
Things that I've learned over a period of time to like keep myself well and stuff like that, so I don't slip into that old way of thinking again.
That's it. It's your way of thinking.
Yeah.
Like your way of thinking is completely different now. Like I'm saying to you, my way of thinking is similar to yours, where I think it's not worth it now, you know what I mean? But if I was in a position where I'm addicted to it, in your head you're just thinking, I just want to get another one of them, and you bring in the dealer or whatever, or you just, that's always the thinking about, innit? And that's the problem, like.
Yeah. There's like, it's like I still, like, I have the odd using for it every now and again and stuff, but I just learn to observe it and let it go rather than let it obsess around me head to the point where I pick up, like, do you know what I mean? It's just, they're not as, it's not like it used to be, like, me thoughts have changed to a degree. But yeah, just, my life's just a million times better than what it was, like, I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk on camera for one, there's no way I'll do it, there's no way I'll do stuff like this, like, I was just wrapped in the same stuff for years. Thought that was like, I thought I was just gonna live like that for the rest of my life, but I'm just blessed to have found what I found and to have got a new way of life. So, boss.
That's good to hear, man. That is good.
Yeah, man.
It's like all the other stuff you've found to do with your time now. Like there's so many other things you can do in the world than just go to a gaff and go on a bender. Like, you know, you go on walks and that, you go and climb the mountains. Even like for people, you know, like I went to the arcade yesterday and went bowling and that. Or there's like the cinema, you go out for a meal. You know, there's loads of other things that you can do.
Yeah.
Go to gym. I enjoy the gym. Other people enjoy different things, but it's like your time's precious. You know what I mean? It's valuable.
Like the big thing for me is like waking up every morning and not thinking about drugs first thing in the morning, or like being present for my kids, or being able to turn up for a job and do a good job every day, or like you know, not treat myself like shit like I used to, or other people like I used to, and it's like
that's the thing with your kids. You're giving them the person they deserve now. Like you're giving them the time they deserve, and overall you're a better person. But at the time you didn't realise.
I still make mistakes all the time, do you know what I mean? I'm nowhere near perfect and I don't want to be, but I just do the best I can, like I do a lot better than what I was, so I'm just dead grateful for it, mate.
It's the main thing, innit? In the right direction now. That's good to hear. Is there anything else you think you want to say, or?
I don't know, I suppose like if anybody's like struggling, you know, fucking they can't stop using drugs, or you know, the life shit, like there's help out there, you know, but you've got to fucking reach out and grab it, you know. If anyone wants to inbox me and speak to me about it, I'll be happy to help them and take them to a meeting if that's what they wanted to do, because sort of like what I've been given freely, I'll try and give away to someone. So if anyone needs help out there, if they fucking give us a message or on my Facebook or Instagram, then they're more than welcome to.
Good man, appreciate it.
Cheers, Kyle,
Thank
nice
you.
one.
Cheers. Take it easy.